Seminar that I've done in 5 years maybe that I don't have a client's dog with. 99% of the time I have a client's dog with me. This is the first year I don't, and it's just because of the sequencing that we have with dogs. So my background is, we got a products company, it's called Dogbone. And so we do training products. So here's the training dummy, this is a training kit, it's got a scent, a booklet, the training dummy, we sell dummies by themselves, we sell scent by themselves. So we've got a product line. That's what got us started. Before that, I trained dogs. So I'm a big believer in, you can't hardly sell products if you don't train dogs. So you got to practice what you preach a little bit. So the reason, I'll give you a quick background on me and what we do and why we're here to this point. You come on in. Scared her off. Just a little girl. No, I'm not that intimidating. You guys can come in. Come on in.
Can hear it clear.
So are my dogs. You're welcome to join. It's a good example. It could be a good example. And I'm not joking. So he said that they got little daughters, and we were talking to him before. And he just said, my daughter, this is going to be maybe a struggle for me.
Maybe the other one will hold it in.
And I can't hear a damn thing. So I really feel like I'm in an echo chamber right now, but I'll get used to it. So when we got started, so our products started because I had an issue come up when I was training dogs. So back this up, my background is not dog training. My background is construction. Okay, my whole family was construction. I went to college for construction. I got a construction management degree. I went right across the river at Stout, UW Stout. Got a degree there for construction management. Didn't want to go into an office, so I liked the field. So I joined the Carpenters Union. I did it totally backwards. Joined the Carpenters Union, did a apprenticeship, got my journeyman's card, and from there I went into the field and I worked for a big general contractor in Wisconsin. I worked there for several years. I hurt my back. So hurt my back, went into an office, worked for in an office for a while as a project manager and an estimator, and then went to this. Okay? So how did I get to this? Well, when I trained some of my best dogs when I was working construction. And part of it had to do with, I was out of town, so I traveled a lot. So I would bring dogs with me. I had, I would say probably the finest gun dog I've ever trained was when I built I worked on building a courthouse in downtown Madison. So it was a big city downtown thing. And I trained a really, really nice gun dog. Part of the reason I tell this story is to give you an idea where I'm coming from, but the other reason is because I hear a lot of people go, especially since we did Facebook Live, they have an opportunity to see some of the places that I train. Now I live out in the country. I get 10 acres. I don't have that much land. We have 10 acres. I take that 10 acres and I make it train like 100, or I hope to at least. I really take advantage of little things. So I pay attention to these little details to try to figure out the best way. When I trained these little dogs in downtown Madison, I used a park. I used soccer fields. So we're always in training. My dogs are always learning. I'm always in training. So this is a lesson. It's a lesson of patience. So we'll talk on that a little bit more. But so I'll give you that idea. But I'm not going to pay any attention to her. I'm going to let her fuss it out. Let her do whatever she wants. We'll get to her later. And the more she fusses, the less we'll get to her. So she'll learn that. But so when I trained that really nice dog in downtown Madison, I did it at a park. I did it in a parking ramp. I went up and down stairs a lot, and I got dogs to heel really well. So the reason I say that is, I don't think you have to be a trainer. I don't think you have to own a bunch of land. I don't think you have. Now you might have to get creative, because I get creative on 10 acres. You might have to. I'm visiting my sister who lives 30 minutes from here. So we stayed with her. She just got a new house that they bought in Anoka. It's in Anoka, I think. So I looked at her backyard. I love Minnesota. Okay, so I got a lot of buddies from Minnesota. Stout was half Minnesota, like a lot of people from Minnesota. So I got to spend a lot of time in Minnesota, and I spent a lot of time duck hunting. That's where I really got hooked on ducks, which is really what got me into dogs. But so when I see her backyard, I went, I could train really nice dogs right here. She's in a subdivision. I could train real nice dogs because she had little cover, she had some timber, she had these little ponds, she had all sorts of stuff that is probably nicer than my setup at my house. So the reason I'm saying that is, how many of you guys, I know we've got one right here, but how many of you guys are professional trainers that have really big areas or nice setup areas for training? Got one there, got one here. Very big majority of you don't. Does it mean you can't do it? No, it means you might have to get creative. You guys are at an advantage because you've got pretty nice setups. My setup is really important. And if you watch when I do stuff, right down to this bed is a setup. It sets me up to have success training this little puppy. So we're going to get into that in a little bit. But, so the background on the shed stuff, because who came here to listen about shed stuff? Who really wants to know about shed stuff? Majority of the people. So I don't want to disappoint you. Close the door and lock it so that these people can't get out. We're going to talk about shed stuff. We're going to get to shed stuff. But we're going to talk about the majority of our time today will be how do we get to that point. Because the majority of my training is not shed stuff. It's getting to the point. Once you get the foundation, that stuff is easy, relatively. We're tapping into things that dogs do real naturally. These guys are retrievers. These guys have pretty good noses. I've yet to train one to use their nose. They all have one. We just bring it out of them. So when it came to this shed thing, how did I get to doing this? Well, I got to it because I had a pup, this one that I trained in Madison that was excellent. He was a real nice dog. I trained him as a gun dog. So the reason I do a lot of the deer stuff, shed stuff, and tracking, we do tracking as well, is because I'm a big deer hunter from Wisconsin, and I just love big deer. And I went to school over where it was like in the heart of big deer, right in the backyard of Buffalo County. And we had really good hunting. Minnesota's got some just as good as stuff across the river. It's that Mississippi River Valley, beautiful. So when I was in school, I really got into the hunting stuff. Come on in. Really got into bird hunting because of the guys I was hanging out with. They were all Minnesota guys, and I just killed a ton of ducks and geese. And so I really got into retriever stuff. I had trained some retrievers prior to that, not very well. That's when I really got hooked. So I don't want to date myself, but that was a while ago. So when I got into the bird dog stuff, I loved it, and I fell in love with training. And then I got home from college, and I missed out on 5 years. And it took me 5, but so what, right? 5 years of really good deer hunting. I missed out on it because I spent most of the time in the duck line. I don't regret it a bit. But I wanted to figure out how do I still be able to, so that first year I kind of put the gun away and I didn't bird hunt hardly at all. And I had this old dog, her name was Remy. She was the dog that I started with. We lost her a few years back. She was 14 when we lost her. But she was a great dog. She's really what I credit my training, me loving training, because she was so easy to train. She made a guy like me look good, and that's what got me hooked. Well, she was a gun dog, and so I decided, how do I use these bird dogs to help me with deer stuff? I had heard about guys shed hunting with their dogs. I actually went to a seminar with a guy that was going to talk about shed training. Probably a lot like you guys come to a seminar about shed training. Well, I don't want to disappoint, but I was disappointed when I went to the seminar, because I went to the seminar and I watched a guy make retrieves with a dog, and it was sheds, and he showed us a video that he was selling about training shed dogs. He would sell you the video to do it, and it was cool, but it was a demonstration. And so I went home and I'm nowhere closer to training this dog to shed hunt than I was when I went to it. So I was disappointed. So I started fooling around with it. I Googled it. There was one article, it was in Outdoor Life at the time. So one article on shed training with a dog. So I read it, and again, it talked about a guy that did it and had success. So I started putzing around with it. So I went in, didn't I have a real shed?
Yeah, it's right there in the front.
Right here. So I took this one because this is actually one that we offer. We have a line of real sheds. Now I think it's important to have a real shed, not a cutoff. So I took an antler like this, like a lot of people do, and I threw it for that dog of mine that was a gun dog, a real nice dog. She picked it up, she brought it back to me, and we started working on stuff, and we took some steps, and all of a sudden I went shed hunting that spring, and Remy found more sheds with me. I'm not going to say all by herself, but with me. I found more sheds the first year of going with Remy than I had found in every year prior to that shed hunting combined. Okay, so I was like, here's the answer. Get the dogs to do it. So I bought a puppy. I bought a puppy named Finn. She's down on our banner downstairs. Bought her with the intentions of, now I've got a puppy and I'm just going to shed hunt with it. So I'm going to start with this foundation work, very similar to how I start out with my gun dogs and my bird dogs. And then I get to the point where she was about 6 months. She had finished teething. And I hadn't done anything with antlers with her because I went, you know what? I don't put bird dogs on birds until they get to the point when they're ready for it. So my little shed dog, hopeful shed dog, wasn't ready for it. So I got to 6 months and I threw an antler for her. And it was a very simple retrieve. And she ran out to it with a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of real excitement. She had a lot of zip. She was a nice little dog. She hit this and she poked herself and she rolled over. And she looked at it and she looked at me and she came running back with her tail between her legs. And I went, what happened there? I did it again and she won't go. So here I got that little shed dog that I was going to train to be a shed dog who was afraid to shed antlers. Who in here has ever heard of dogs that are gun shy? Gun shy, I get questions about gun shy. We do a lot of shed dog stuff, and even on some of our lives, about once a week I'll get someone to ask the question about how do I get this dog that's afraid of gunshots? And I don't care, that's fine. We just want to answer some questions. So, gun-shy dogs are very similar, in my opinion, to this shed-shy dog that I had. She was introduced to something that I wanted her to like in a bad way. It was connected to a negative. So, my wheels started turning, and I thought, what's that?
Dog.
He's correcting for me. Thank you. Jason, right?
Yep.
So, here's my disconnect right now is evident with her. So we were talking for quite a while downstairs, and I talked about how it just happened this morning. This is a perfect example of how quickly things can erode. So we've been working, she's 11 weeks old. This is about 3.5 weeks of place training with her, and she's solid. I really feel like she's solid. Is she done? No. Evident right now. So in 15 minutes downstairs, 3.5 weeks went to a paw touching the ground. And he caught it for me. My disconnect is evident because I didn't even see it. So I had a guy call me, I had a guy message me this week that said, I'm at 15 weeks with my pup. All the stuff that you've been doing, I've been doing, and I've got that. I'm ready to move on to the shed stuff. And I haven't sat down enough to take enough time to email him back. You'll get a message back. I message everybody back. But first thing I'm going to do is it'll probably be the word patience. Like I'll talk to him about patience. I'll get to that. But so he's corrected for me. We're not going to allow that paw to hit the ground. So back to this. So when I came out with this, I thought, how the heck do I get a dog to be confident with this that started out with this negative introduction? So I'm a big believer in starting everything out positive with my dogs. I don't force anything. I try to bring out what these dogs have inherent naturally. I'm trying to bring it out in a good way. Who here has a job? This is just a sorry excuse to get in participation, make sure I'm still with me. So, I have had jobs. I have a job now. When I have a boss, training a dog is a lot like a relationship thing. It's a coach to a player, it's a teacher to a student, it's a boss to an employee, it's a parent to a kid, whatever. Now, I could get anybody connected to this with analogies. So, when I have a boss and I'm the employee, and my boss tells me, if you do really good, Jeremy, I'm giving you a bonus. You do well on this project, big bonus. Or that gets my ears going, because I'm driven. I'm driven by dollars when it comes to work. That's why we do this. I'm really driven by stuff. And I'm a competitor. I'm pretty competitive, admittedly. Self-awareness is important, right? I'm competitive. So when I like. That's a nice little change. So now since this correction, Jason, I'm really feeling the dog right now. And I'm not going to allow it to happen again. I'm a little embarrassed by it, quite honest. I disconnected in 10 minutes with this dog. So anyway, and I'm also all over the place. So stick with me. I'll narrow back down. So when we start talking about a boss and an employee, if you tell me I get a big bonus if I do well, and that's some people's model when it comes to motivating. There's another boss out there that says if you make a mistake, you're fired. I've worked for those guys too. I am much more apt to give you a better performance if I know there's a big bonus at the end, as opposed to getting fired if I make a mistake. You're not going to get a risk. I'm not taking a risk. I'm going to keep my head down. I'm going to do my job. I'm going to keep my head down. Now, with these dogs, they're capable of doing so much, but what I feel is we don't tap into a fraction of what their potential is. So what I want is to develop so much confidence and trust and feel with these guys that they go, hell, I think I can think outside the box a little bit for Dad. And I know that I'm going to get a big bonus as opposed to getting fired. So that's my approach and my mentality to all this stuff. So when we start doing this with these puppies, I want dogs to understand that the shape of this antler is positive. It's going to get them a reward. Most of my dogs are driven by retrieve. I've got a few people who's got pointing dogs in here. So some of the pointing, 50% right now, pointing dogs. I love it because I think it's been realized that pointing dogs can do this just the same as the retrievers. Who's got a herding dog in here? Herding dogs can do this just the same as the retrievers. Who's got, go through Westminster's category of dogs. Everyone's talking about the shepherd right now because I think it won, right? It won the best in show. So that's, can they do it? No doubt about it. When you go through the airport, why do I see so many of them? It's not because those guys think they're cool. It's because the style of dog fits very well for the purpose of what things they're doing. So I love the idea of the pointing dogs, but the pointing dogs aren't always the most strong when it comes to retrieve. Some of them don't very well. Can you train them to do it? Yeah, I think you can, but I also think that sometimes when dogs don't do things well, I'd rather look for what they do well to connect. Hound dogs. You know, hounds are designed to scent. Long, floppy ears make them really cute. Kids love it. But it also kicks up scent molecules. It helps a dog to come. The way their noses are built, they have more receptors to process scent. So dogs are built to do certain things. That's evolution. We've built them that way. So, but I want to tap in positively. So what I do is I go shape first and make these guys understand that the shape of the antler is not a bad thing. Then I'm going to start adding some scent to it. Then I'm going to make it feel like an antler eventually. So that's it. Shed hunting. Shape, scent, see you guys. No. Right? So it's that simple, and I'm going to put that much emphasis on it right now. Who's got dogs? Who's got a dog in here? If you don't have a dog and you're here on Saturday, something's wrong. So everyone's got a dog in here, right? Does anybody not have one? He doesn't have one. You're going to get one, though, aren't you? It's a web of connection here. You got cards on you?
Yes, I do.
Okay. When are you getting your dog?
May 1st.
May 1st? What kind of dog do you get?
It's
Fox Red English Setter. What do you get? Fox Red English Setter. Real popular right now. They are popular. These are British dogs. Come from British field lines. We'll talk breeds in a little bit. We'll talk specifics with that stuff in a little bit. I don't care about it. I'll put that out there right now. It doesn't matter what kind of dog you have. It doesn't matter to me what age your dog is. I think you can do this stuff, and we'll get into that more in detail. So we've got two guys that are puppies coming. So this is a part where I like to get an idea of who we got in the room and where we're going to go with it. Who's got dogs that are? Who's got a puppy? Who's got a dog that's a puppy? It's a test. So how old is the puppy?
He's a teenager. He's 11 months.
11 months. He's a puppy. I call him a puppy.
13 weeks.
13 weeks. You got a puppy. Who's got puppies back there?
9 weeks.
9 weeks. You're together?
Siblings.
What's that?
We're siblings. Yeah.
Siblings. Oh, you got sibling dogs. You're not siblings.
Right.
I can't hear very good, so I'm thinking I don't hear good in the first place. Steph will attest to that. And then I got this thing. So you got sibling dogs. Okay. What kind? Vizslas.
A little bit over a year.
Little over a year.
9 weeks.
9 weeks.
9 months.
9 months. So I'm really glad everybody that just said that they had puppies. Who's got dogs that's not a puppy? Who's got an adult dog? How old?
4 years.
4 years.
6.
6 years. 5 years. Man, you guys have been studying. I can't catch a single person in here. So the reason I ask it that way and I leave it kind of broad is 2 years old and younger, in my eyes, are puppies. I call them puppies. So most of the time when I say who's got puppies, I got a lot of people that I don't have a puppy. It's 10 months old. Not a puppy, because it doesn't look like a puppy. By the time they're 10 months old, they look pretty big. They look like dogs. They're totally puppies. And so a lot of people, so we got a sharp crowd. So here's me as a speaker trying to get a gauge for, I'm reading a whole bunch of you, okay? I try to get a feel for this group, okay? Because this is the group we're working with. So we've got several different types of dogs. That's good. That's something I put back in my memory. We've got ages, we've got several puppies, and we've got good number of that are a little bit older dogs. 2 and older, I call them dogs. So that's good. So I'm always trying to read that, and the reason I'm trying to read that is because in order to be a good speaker, you have to connect. I have to figure out how the hell to get you guys to want to know what I'm saying and be with me. One thing I can say right now is very attentive group. Like, I haven't lost any of you yet. Now I will. I've only been going 26 minutes. So if we had little ones, I think we did have little ones in here. Perfect. We had some little ones in here. They're gone. 26 minutes into it. I can't ask a little kid to sit here for 26 minutes and listen to me talk. He didn't come here for that. He wanted to see some dogs treatment. Come back at 45. We'll get you. So, but you guys have been really focused. One of the things that I really talk about with dogs is I have to keep their focus. I have to be able to read them. That dog reads me better than I can read it. So that's one thing that you guys have to figure out is how to read body language, how to read what's working and what's not working. So all this stuff, when are we going to talk about shed hunting? Wow, we talked about shed hunting already. Now we're talking about the foundation. And we'll get to shed hunting, I promise. But the foundation to me is the most important part. Because without it, I have nothing. I don't care if you have the best shed dog in the world. And I think that's up for debate as well. What is a shed dog? I mean, what do most people think of when they think of shed dogs? I hate to say it, but I burst a lot of bubbles. Because a lot of people want to know, how many more sheds do you find with the dog than without? Well, I'll tell them the truth. I found more sheds the first year with the dog than I found in my entire life combined. That's not just me marketing it. That's not me saying dogs are the silver bullet. What it is it's not in coincidence. So, guys who shoot the most, who's a duck hunter in here? Couple? I'm in Minnesota. Who's a duck? Come on now. Who plays hockey here? So, this is something where I got to feel my crowd out. So if I don't have many duck hunters in here, I probably will get away from the duck hunting analogies. I can make an analogy to dog training with just about anything. Okay? Because I can connect it to so much in life. Who's got kids in here? You've got a pretty young group in here. So we don't have many. So my parent analogies will be staying right here. So I've got kids. So I use them a lot. I use the kids a lot. I get cheap labor out of them. No, I use analogies for kids a lot because who's got a parent in here? I can flip this right on its head. Who's got a parent in here? Now I can use my parent-kid analogies. You're just going to have to look at it from a different point of view. So, but what I'm saying is all this dog stuff connects back to so much more than just dogs. So that's big picture. That's macro. Now we talk micro. So when we talk these specific things of foundation, a lot of young puppies in here, which is great. We've already discussed the idea of the live thing. We're live right now. So I'm hoping that a lot of people that weren't able to make it are able to get something out of this. Now, I think there's different touches with stuff. I've got a DVD. We sell a DVD. Shed training, game recovery, tracking, and then puppy. The puppy DVD is 2.5 hours. It's 2 discs. We broke the mold for Gun Dog. They said, you can't make them that long. I said, well, then I'm not going to do it. Like we did the Gun Dog DVD for sheds and the Gun Dog DVD for training, or for tracking. We filmed them both on the same, over like a week's period of time. And when we filmed them, this was years ago, 4 or 5 years ago now. And so it was the first DVD that I had ever done. You can tell, it's obvious. I'm not a TV person. That's not my style. Now I do some TV stuff. North American Whitetail is on this card. I got into North American Whitetail because of dog stuff, not because of the deer stuff. Because of the dog stuff, and we had a connection to dogs to deer. It just made sense for everybody. But you can tell the training book that she's going to get out of this kit, I wrote. Okay? I wrote it. I'm a much better talker than I am a writer. So my book's all right, but my DVD is my book on steroids. It's a lot better because I can jabber about stuff a lot easier than I can sit in front of a keyboard. I don't have the patience to do it. So when we did the DVDs, we started out with Gun Dog, and I filmed them. And Gun Dog wanted to do it in they were produced by television guys. And if anybody's ever done stuff with television, you'll know it's got to be very short and crisp. There's no downtime. They have 22 minutes in a show. A 30-minute show, they have 22 minutes of content. And it was like, more stuff gets left on the floor than gets ever on screen. So when you do these things with these segments, like I have to be really sharp because if I get to be 15, 20 seconds too long on a segment, scrap it, we redo it, we've got to get it really, really tight. I like that. I like the idea of having the opportunity to get it to people. I think it's not nearly as powerful because there's not as much information. So it's a different delivery. But the gun dog guys are magazine people who are tight for space, and they're coming from the same producers that were the TV show who are very tight for space. So when they asked me to do the DVD, they said, shorten it up, shorten it up, shorten it up, shorten it up, shorten it up. It's 50-some minutes is each shed and track. So I got done with it. It was their number 1 and their number 2 selling one. They sold the lights out of them the first couple of years. Part of it was because they were new, part of it was because I think it was a unique topic. But the third one, they came to me and they said, we want to do an advanced version. I said, advanced? I thought I put a lot into those first ones. I don't know how advanced we're going to get with it. So I said, here's what the problem is. Most of the people who have watched the DVD love it and say, they email me after, really like the DVD, had a lot of information in it. Can't get my dog quite to that point. How do I get them there? So I said, I'll do a DVD with you guys, but we're going to back this thing up, and we're going to figure out how to build a foundation. So we call it a puppy DVD. It's a foundation DVD. I said, we do it, but we do it on my terms. So they go, what does that mean? I said, just let me do it. Okay, we'll let you. So I had built a little bit of trust with them, and they let me do it. There's a chapter in it with this puppy. Not this puppy, but there's, anybody ever see the show Raised Hunting? It's on the Outdoor Channel. We trained a dog for him. His dog's name is Old Dan. So Old Dan was part of that video. So Old Dan was 8 weeks old, and I had not put him on place yet, intentionally. And while we filmed that DVD, I put him on place for the first time. We had 2, 3 cameras in all these different spots, a lot of lights, all this stuff. Weird looking, but on TV it looks pretty good. So that little puppy's sitting around and seeing these camera guys and seeing these cameras, all this stuff, and he continually jumped off of it. He just kept jumping off, kept jumping off. I picked him up, put him back, nope, 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 nope. So I'm going to back up now. I'm going to go to my cheat sheet. Thing about this is, I did these 4 years ago. We still use them. Things have changed since then. I'm always evolving. I'm always changing. So if you watch any of these on YouTube, it won't look anything like this. This one will be on YouTube, and then it'll be good, because people that have watched all the other ones that I've put on YouTube will go, this is a lot different. Because as I keep going along in training, I'm changing. Constantly changing with dogs, constantly changing with things that I'm thinking about. But one of the things that I think was interesting, I brought this on purpose, and I'm going to look at the shed side to start out with. There's only 4 things I put on it. The thing that I thought was interesting, I thought about this last night. I said, my seminar tomorrow is going to be totally different. And it is. It started out totally different, and I'm feeling the crowd right now. I'm going, I need to speed up because I'm never going to get through all the stuff I need to get through, so I'm going to start hitting some Cliff Notes versions of stuff. But I thought about this last night, and I thought, in this takeaways card, I'm going to go through it, and I'm going to go, I knew what it was on it. So number 1, 3 basic steps. Shape of an antler, scent of an antler, feel of an antler. I covered that. Check it off, right? Did it. That's my note to keep me on track. Number 2, training a dog is nothing more than forming habits. Habits are formed through repetition and consistency. Who's heard me say that before? If you've watched live, you've heard me say it 1,000 times. Training is nothing more than forming habits. Habits are formed by repetition and consistency. Do something over and over and over again, it's going to turn into a habit. The reason I'm talking about that right now is because I'm going to start talking about some of the mechanics of what I do with the dog. Come on in. So we're going to start talking about the mechanics of what we do, and none of this stuff, everything I do, I'm going to talk about is repetitious consistency. Do something over and over and over again. So that was interesting to me because that has not changed, no matter what Number 3, dogs, especially young dogs, are always in training. Instill good habits and avoid bad ones. Don't train something in today that you'll have to train out tomorrow. Nothing has changed in my mindset with that. It's still top priority. It's still a top priority with this little puppy. Don't form a bad habit today that I'm going to train out later. I've already talked about one, putting her paw down on the ground. We corrected that. We're fixing that instantly. I won't form a bad habit today to train out later. So that hasn't changed. Number 4, incremental training. Build off your last lesson. So those are shed training notes. And I don't care what we're talking about. They apply to every damn thing I do with the dog. So I think it's, except number 1, I guess. So I think it's interesting. So when we get back to that DVD and that foundation, the foundation DVD is 2.5 hours long, and you know what I cover? Heel, sit, stay, come when I call you. A little bit of place training, a little bit of tying out. That's it. So we got real long with it, and it leads me to the extension of what I like to do now with this live stuff. The thing that's interesting about live is it's very boring for people unless you're into it. Like, no one's watching it for fun. No one's watching it because it's entertaining. No one's watching it because it's exciting. I got news for you. Training these dogs isn't entertainment as far as excitement. It's a lot of being very methodical. It's a lot of thinking ahead and then putting a plan together, executing it. So with this little dog in the video, she jumped off for 10 minutes. The chapter on place training is about 10 minutes long. And after about 9 minutes of that, jump off, 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 gets a little old. I only did it for 10 seconds. Imagine it for 10 minutes. Jump off, jump off, jump off. Finally, the little puppy came up to the edge and went, and sat down. And at that moment, I celebrated like we had won the World Series. God, you're a good boy, you're a good boy. Praised and praised and praised and picked him up, and that was it. We were out of there. I ended it on a win. I'm going to do that with everything. So we're going to be, now for a lot of people, they would have said, that was painful. That took so damn long. They don't have time for it. I got news for you. If you don't have time, you'll never be successful with this training stuff. Does it take a lot of time? No. Because I'm a big believer in this. So you're going to say he's talking out both sides of his mouth. It doesn't take a lot of time. It takes a lot of good quality time. And so guys, at times I've got 5 or 6 dogs. I'm not a kennel. I don't take dogs in, train dogs for clients. These 3 are all actually going to belong to us, a part of our family. But for me to train 6 dogs, it's a big undertaking. I know some places that train 10, 15, 20 dogs and handle it. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they do it. So for me, 6 is too much. I can't quite handle it. Me, about 4. Well, I can handle about 4 pretty comfortably. Only because I feel like I've gotten pretty efficient. I think I can get away with it. Now, how much time do I spend on actual formal training with that puppy? Well, right now, if you're following on live, you're with me for just about every minute of it. Now, so you're going to say, Jesus, man, you're on sometimes for an hour on live, and I get a little ridiculous with it. It goes a little long. I realize that. It's not all training, and if I didn't do it live, I think I could do it in about 30% of the time that I do when I do it live. So I'm not explaining stuff. A lot of the stuff is just answering questions and that. So how much time does it take me to feed this dog? I'm going to wake this pup up. I'm a little nervous about it. Because I just took her out, she went to the bathroom. I brought her in here and I waited so long. I should have done this from the very beginning. We're going to add some excitement to it. You guys have all seen this, but who hasn't watched live? All right, buckle up. All right. So, the day you bring your puppy home, the day your pup comes home from the kennel, I can be quite certain that they've fed it on a pretty regular schedule. They probably are feeding 3 times a day. That's what I think most do. We switch it to 2 right away. Now I'm making some noise because it sounds a little different. Now I've got a little puppy, and if you can't see it, get up and move. You can do whatever you want. This little puppy right here just woke up. She perked up. My natural instinct right now is take her outside. She's probably going to pee. Jordan, you got paper towel here, fellas? We're going to roll the dice. He's got a good maintenance crew. I'm going to roll the dice. I just had her out. She went to the bathroom. It's been 10 minutes. I wouldn't recommend this. I'd take her right outside, and then I'd bring her back in. So the day I brought this puppy home, if you want to see it, go back 3 weeks on our Facebook page. And you'll see it. I brought the puppy home, and I went and I got the bowl of food. And the bowl of food at my house makes the same sound that the bowl of food at the kennel does. So this little puppy had been trained. Anybody ever hear Pavlov? So dog trainers immediately shook their head. Hey, why would you know Pavlov? We talked about it for like a week, and what class would it even be? It's psychology or something? So we're going to take a step back, a little walk down memory lane. Psychology 101. So Pavlov, classic conditioning. Okay? I believe really firmly in classic conditioning. I believe that habits, repetition and consistency forms habits. Habits is dog training. I'm a big buy into it. So When I brought this puppy home, Pavlov had already had its impact on her. When the kennel got the bowl of food out, her 4 other brothers and sisters got very excited because it was quite a reward. They got to eat. And it was also a survival thing for 3 weeks. We brought them home at 7 weeks. I actually had them home a little bit earlier, but typically if you're getting them home at 7 weeks, they're probably on solid food for 3 weeks. They're probably weaned off mom around 4 weeks, somewhere around there. So for 3 weeks of their life, which at that point is 50% of their life, how old am I? I don't ask anybody how old they are. How old am I? 37. Just had a birthday this week. 50% of my life is 18 and a half years. Who's a math person in here? Got one. So I'm reading my crowd right now. I can't make very many math jokes because she's the only one that'll laugh. So I'm reading my crowd. But so 18 and a half years is a lot. 3 weeks doesn't sound like a lot in relative terms, but 3 weeks is 50% of this dog's life. Half of its life, a habit has taken place. So that I'm trying to show you the relevance of that. So for 3 weeks, this puppy heard the bowl of food and got all the brothers and sisters excited, and it was actually survival. Had to eat in order to live. So it triggered an emotion in this dog. It triggered a physical reaction. This dog goes nuts. Let's eat. So when I brought Pup home, Pup did the exact same thing. Pup came unglued. Now, she was pretty settled to start out with, but once she realized my routine, and my routine was get the bowl of food out, scoop it up, hold on to my puppy. And my little puppy fought it because she went, put me down. I'd like to eat, and I want to eat right now. So she squirmed. She wiggled. She fussed. She made a lot of noise. She was pretty vocal. A lot of whimpering. And the problem was is that if I set her down at that point, you know what she would have said? Next time, if I fuss and I wiggle and I whine, that's what got me to get set down to get my food. So back up to my card, I think on there, dogs are always learning. Consequently, we're always training. So the problem would be is I would inadvertently be training in a bad habit. So let's put this little bowl of food over here. You guys off the table. Now, little puppy whines, fusses, wiggles, all sorts of stuff. I don't set her down. It's a test of will. Who will outlast the other? And I'm going to always win. I'm always going to win. I'm going to end on a win with the pup. I'm not letting the little puppy beat me. You think a little 7-week-old puppy's going to beat me? Not a chance, right? There's a lot of people that 7-week-old puppies, they walk all over people. Because they go, oh, I just don't want to listen to this anymore. Set her down and feed her. At least she shuts up. Put dogs in crates. Put them in crates and you close them up and they whine and they bark. And let your neighbors know ahead of time because they're going to think you're torturing that poor little dog. Those dogs are scream and fuss. But if you let them out when they're doing that, what got them what they wanted? Screaming, whining, fussing. You open the gate and out they come. Hell, next time I'll do it even quicker, harder, longer. So what I want to do is go, let this little dog, let that part of this dog's makeup work in my favor. So what I have to do is wait them out. So she's pretty settled right now. It'll be to the point where you'll feel their heart race. And then all of a sudden when I'm holding them, I'll feel their heart slow. Right now she's real limp. If she wasn't, I could feel the tension in her muscles. So this is a physical feel that we start out with. And then it shifts to even not physically touch. I didn't have feel, but Jason said, hey, paw. And I went, missed it. The next time, I was going to catch it. There was no way, because I was going to feel. I walked through this store with Taylor to take her out off lead, and I didn't even know where she was. But you know where I knew right where she was. Right here on the back hip. She wasn't touching me or anything. But I knew it. If I stopped, I know she would have went, whoop, right there, because I feel it. That comes from time. That comes from working with these dogs and developing that. That is huge. Mechanics are 50%. Feel, touch, connection, that's the other 50%. You can have a good dog with one or the other. You get great dogs when you combine the two. So this little pup settles in. Incremental training, I think it's on my card. So the next step, when that pup would settle in, when you guys get that little pup to settle in, you set her down, you let her eat. Now I water it down. I didn't do it today. I water it down. It's teaching my dog. It's helping them eat it faster. It's helping them process it quicker. But it's getting them to understand they don't eat 2-3 bites. Remember, they're little and their teeth are little. they're used to it being watered down at the kennel. So when they start chewing on it and they start realizing it's hard, it takes them a while. And I get little puppies that sometimes chew on it a little bit, sit down, take a rest. They might go over here and check this out, and they come back and they bite a couple bites, go over here. It takes feeding, and it goes from 10 minutes to 30 minutes. I don't have 30 minutes to feed a dog. We're traveling, we're doing all. I want dogs to go and eat. You got a window. So I'd water it down first. When she settles down physically, I would set her down. She'd go eat. The next step I want to do, and we're to this point with her, is we're setting her down. I start out in between my legs, just another feel thing. Then I get her over to my left side. It's become a habit. I don't have to say anything. It's become a habit where sit down and watch Dad. Now I'm looking for eyes. She's very distracted. She's way more interested in Jordan than me. So I'm adding a little time to this. Spry. And I sent her on her knee. Line her up, stretch it out, Get there, little girl. And she goes, now, what time is it? Noon? 11:30? She's used to eating at 10. Or she's used to eating in the morning, 8, 9 o'clock. So, now, from that, so guys, don't think that this happens the first day. It doesn't. Watch my video. I held on to a puppy for 46 minutes once until she shut up. And then I set her down and let her eat. So, did it take long that day? Yeah, it took a while. Come on in, guys. Come on in, grab a seat. Did it take a while? Yeah, it did. But it got shorter the next day, and then it got shorter the next day, and then we got pretty good at it, and then all of a sudden, she went backwards. She went about, I don't know, it was probably a week and a half into it, where it was to the point where I would hold on to her and she was really good. And then I'd set her down and she would stay. And then I'd send her out. So we got real good at it. And then one day, I held on to her and she didn't settle in. Ever. Felt like ever. 26 minutes. I held on to a puppy after about a week of doing it where it was, I didn't even have to hold on to her, I just set her down. She was really calm. Went backwards, 26 minutes. Guess what? When we progress in life, especially with our dogs, we're going to have really good strides. I'm always looking to improve. I'm always looking to take the next step, build on it. I call it adding layers. Add another layer, add another layer, add another layer, add another layer. At times, I run into problems. Take steps back. I think a lot of people get almost too proud. They have a pride thing. They don't want to take a step back. So what they do is they try to continue to ram forward. They ram through. There's a wall that's blocking their progress, and we put our head down and we run into it and try to break through the wall with our head. And I tell people, take a step back and look at the wall, because there might be a door right there. Open the door and walk through it. But if you don't step back and pick your head up and you just start ramming through stuff, you'll never get there. So the next progression, pup comes down. We're just to this week. Sit. Good. Now, as you guys know, I've had success with this little dog in several locations with repetition. I've also moved locations. I think dogs are real place-oriented. Certain spots, they get the routine down, and they do very well. What I want to do is then replicate the behavior in a different spot, because the spot itself can really throw them for a curve. So this is a little remote sit to feed her. It's the very first time we've ever done it in Rogers, Minnesota, Cabela's. So is she going to have success? If she does, it tells me we're doing pretty good with forming a habit. We're not training a dog a trick to do in my kitchen. Because I see that a lot. I see a lot of buddies that go, man, I'm really getting good at this. Come and see it. I go, well, bring a dog over. I'd love to see it. So they bring a dog over to my house. They set it up. They show me. They're pumped. They're ready to do this. They do it, and the dog looks like it's never done it before. They go, she never does this at home. I said, yeah, how often do you train outside of home? Never. That's where we do it. Well, the dog memorized a routine in your house. You have to transfer the behavior to every location. So this is real nice for her. Spread. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Boom. Okay? So this is building off of our lessons. So I just gave you guys a really short catch-up over the last 3 weeks of our live training. I'm not going to feed her right now because it's not really her time to eat. So that foundation work, we've started place. I will do this. I've started place. I've started some sit work. Now, notice one thing. I'm not calling that dog off the bed. These are little minute mechanical things. Don't call a puppy off the bed that you're training to stay on place. Because all of a sudden I got dogs that go, sometimes I'm able to run right off this thing and he actually likes it when I do it. Don't create gray area. Black and white. That's why the bed's elevated. If that's a pillow that sits flat on the ground, it's really easy for my dog to be laying on the bed and one paw's up, one finger's off. Do I correct or not? 2 fingers are off. Do I correct or not? All of a sudden the dog rolls over and a shoulder blade is off. Do I correct or not? Gets to a point where I go, oh, that's too much. Get back on your place. The dog looks at you like you're nuts. Because it's been there, it's been doing that. It doesn't understand at all why you're correcting it. It's got to be black and white. On place or off place. So, I'm going to do this. This is my backup plan. I call it my insurance. A little bit of kibble in my back pocket. I am not a treat trainer. You guys know that. I don't treat train. I will use food as a motivator with a little puppy at times if needed. But I phase that out. So I used to, when I started sit with this puppy, I started it in a little pen. It's the only place I could get her focused. She'd get way too distracted. She'd go all over hell if I didn't have her in that little pen. No way could I get her to focus. I got her to focus. I got her to sit for me. I'd give her a piece of kibble. I'd get her to sit, kibble, kibble, sit, kibble. We did it for about 4 or 5 days. And she did well. You guys saw it. From that, I started going kibble about 3 out of 4 times. And then a day of every other one. Then a day of 1 out of 10, I'd give her kibble. And I replaced it with praise. Because praise to her is equal to food, in my opinion. I think dogs are wired to make us happy. I call it biddability, willingness to please. So with this little puppy, I'm going to pick her up, and I'm going to show you. Now, I'm going back here. There's too many distractions here. So I'm going to try to set myself up for success. We made here real slippery slope. The mathematician's got to see something here too. So what I'm going to do is, I come over here, and it's not just to give her a better view. Maybe it is, right? We're getting a feel together right now. So what I want to do is, I want this dog to be as least distracted as possible. I feel like this is a lot less distracting than that. So I'm trying to set her up for a little success here. Now, this could go, the train could come off the tracks real quick. She could be all over. There's dogs up there, there's all these people. But I'm going to do my best to get her attention, and I'm going to show you the incremental steps that we've taken. I'm working on recall with her. Very good. I'm going to let her know right away I've got food. Come on. Come on, come on. Distraction. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Sit. Sit. Very good. Not a real good sit. I'm not going to give her a kibble on that. Come on, come on. Distraction. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come here, come here, come here. Sit. That one I will. That one I will. That was all right. I'm going to replace it with praise. Come on. More distractions. Come on. Now, can I get her off of that? Come on, come on, come on. Very good, very good, very good. Sit. Sit. Good. Sit. Remember when we talked about reading body language? See how this little puppy comes up to me? She's pretty happy. I'm going to get her distracted. Oh, there's Mama. Come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on. She goes that way, I'm going away from her. Come here. Sit. 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 Good. Good. Done. I call it a win. Whew. Got out of that. Now that went pretty good. I'm probably more happy than anybody in this room right now. Because that was quite a ride. There's a whole bunch of stuff. That could have went. Back up to the very beginning. Before I do, I missed this part. This is epic mistake on my part. Before I do a seminar, I tell people, did we bring that Powerade up? I'll get pretty dry by the end. That'll speed this thing up. So, before I start any seminars, I always tell people this. Any type of thing like this. I give a disclaimer. My seminars will have issues. We're going to have problems. I'm going to have mistakes. I'm very glad she didn't make a mistake there, but it's likely we'll have mistakes yet, okay? So the disclaimer is this. It's not a demonstration. I'm not going to show you the demonstration of This is how my dogs do it. They're very good because you'll watch that and you'll go, that was cool. I'll go home and try it. Slipped on me. Jason's got a good feel right now. What I want to do is, I want to show you guys them make mistakes. Now, the takeaway from that, I think, was her excitement level ramped up as she searched the crowd and found some new friends and thought that was pretty good. She really liked that gold thing for whatever reason, that little gold cover. But my tone corrected or fixed. It kind of pulled her back when I was losing her. So I'd get excited, she'd come to me, I'd praise her for it, and as soon as she came into me, you'll hear it in my voice. Like a little kid. How old are you? You're 6. What's your name? Madeline. Whoa. Where are you from? Corcoran. 6 years old, so that makes you... We've got a 7-year-old. She's in
First grade?
second grade. You're kindergarten? Maybe ours isn't then.
She's in second grade, their
She's
daughter.
in second.
August birthday. Someone wrote that.
Dad doesn't know what class your grade is in. Okay. I don't even know what class my daughter's in. Now, we just had a really nice little exchange. Nice meeting you. I'm going to have you help me with training the pup in a little bit. Is that all right? Okay. So, that was a pretty nice little exchange. My tone of voice with her probably intimidated her a little bit when I got to a certain, because whoa, a lot of people. I mean, that's intimidating talking in front of a lot of people. Give you a lot of credit. So, but my tone was important in that to be able to get something out of her. Okay? If I came up to her, I won't, because I'm never crying. But
She can take it.
why are you even here? What are you doing here? Like, that's uncomfortable, is it not? I'm just joking. But, so it's uncomfortable. I can make things comfortable or uncomfortable by the tone of my voice. That little puppy reads that very easily. So as she came into me, I wasn't too hard on her. I said, sit. Sit. Who thought I meant it when I said sit? I meant it. She knew it. If I said, sit down, sit, she'd go, ooh, wow, this is fun. Wag my tail a little bit more. It's all about tone. So, watch this dog. Madeline, right? Come here for a second. I'm going to show you. Now, I'm going to ask you, do you mind? Can you give me a hand? Here's Ellie. Okay? Ellie is an extremely soft dog. 1.5 old, nice little dog. I'm going to have you. Now, Madeline work with dogs? Madeline. She says no, she says yes. You're just sandbagging, aren't you? Okay, so here, I'm going to have you, I'm going to give this leash. Now here's, the demonstration is to show you how important the handler is in this. Okay? Dog is 50%. Handler is the other 50%. You guys and girls are 50% of the equation when it comes to your dog. So if your dogs aren't getting it, and you email me and tell me how dumb your dog is, I won't say it to you, but I'm thinking it in the background going, does your dog have you fooled? Who's the dumb one? And I don't mean it in a bad way, but you know what I mean? Like, the dogs aren't very dumb. Sometimes the dogs are so smart, they make us dumb. Okay? So I'm going to, now, Madeline's got some experience with dogs. I can see it in her eyes. I'm going to have you take that Ellie. And would you walk her? Ellie, this is Madeline. Madeline, Ellie. Would you take Ellie and just walk her around the room for us?
You grab her leash?
Go ahead, grab her.
So let's go.
Let's see how this works. I'm going to show you in a minute. Now remember, let's see how it goes. Go ahead, Madeline. Now I'm going to help Madeline, because this is not Madeline's fault. It's not Ellie's fault either, but let's see what happens. Go ahead, walk her around. Walk her around.
Ella, come on.
That's all right. That's all right. You what? You're fine. You're fine. Go ahead, walk her around the room. I'm seeing a change. I'm very satisfied with the change because I'll tell you right now, it's very uncomfortable for Ellie. Probably not Watch this now. Keep going. Keep going around the room. Keep going right around the room. Watch this, guys, because I'm making little mental notes. Do you think they're looking better right now? All right, Madeline, stop. Good. Beautiful job, first off. You've got something coming for you in the end here. You run right back up in front here, and I'm going to need you. You did so well. Can I use you later? Thank you. Okay. When this thing started, what did it look like? It didn't look very good. This little dog looked at her and went, I don't know what she wants. She looked at this little dog and said, come over here, or I'm not very good with this leash. Like, there was all sorts of stuff going on. Now, Madeline, got you all warmed up. Come on back with me. I shouldn't have put you down so quick. Now, you'll notice loose. That was not nice. Heel. Let me start this out. I'm going to back this up. So I'm going to show you something, because it'll start out rough, and then I'm going to build on it. So I'm going to add a layer, I'm going to add a layer, I'm going to add a layer. And by the end, we'll get good. So keep an eye on it. Watch for little details. I'm not looking at her. What's that say, karate? You have karate in your shirt? Don't mess with Madeline. She's a karate girl. I'm not really looking at her. Does anybody, we're from Pulaski. Anybody ever hear of Pulaski? Home of the largest polka festival in the Midwest. I mean, we know how to have a good time, right? So, anybody ever see two people dance polka together? You guys are Minnesota polkas, right? You ever see two people that have never polkaed together before start polka-ing together? Especially if they don't know what they're doing that well. It's pretty ugly. We got married recently. We saw that happen on a dance floor. Especially late in the evening, it can be a mess, right? So, polka, any kind of dance, it doesn't matter what. You ever see two people that have never danced before and maybe aren't that good at dancing and they try to dance together? It looks pretty crude. But then when you get people that have danced together before and they know what they're doing, it can be beautiful. I mean, I'm not an artsy guy, but I watch it and I go, wow, that was pretty good, you know. That's me on my polka floor. Here. So, footwork is important with the dog. And that wasn't that good of a turn. Here. That one was much better. So, as I've taken her now 2-3 times, we've sharpened up together. We're connecting. That feel thing that I got with that puppy, I'm getting with this dog. Now, I have to warm it up. Yeah, loosen it up a little bit. I got to get her loose. Athletic, I make a lot of analogies to athletics. Awful turn. Little correction. Yep. Lost her confidence. 7.5 behind me now. Tail doesn't really wag much. When her confidence gets going good and we start dancing well together, you'll see a different body. Come on. You'll see a different body language in her. Part of it'll come terrible turn, really loose. I gotta get some trust out of her. Watch her eyes. She's distracted. She's checking out the crowd. Bad turn. I want her hind and great bending. That's better, but not good. Got a little life out of her. That helps. Wrong bend. She's bending this way. I want her to bend this way. That was better. Much better. So I'm working on connecting right now with her. Dialing her in. Getting a feel. Like right down to where her back foot pivots so that her front end comes. When I say bend, she's bending this way. And I want her to bend this way. So her butt swings around and pivots with me. That's the precision I'm looking for right now. Because right here, if I can't have precision at 150 yards when I handle her out for a blind. Or I handle her out for a cripple that sailed. And she's going to have to work into some cover. Now, remember, she does bird dog stuff too, gun dog stuff. So, when it comes down to all these little precise things, I'm picky. Now, Madeline, come on over here. Now, when I handed Ellie off to Madeline, Madeline took her for a walk, and it was a mess to start out with. It got around over here. It got better. Did you see what side the dog was on, Madeline? Madeline was on the dog's left. She's just not, this dog's not even comfortable with me standing on this side. She doesn't know what to think right now. Because I always feel my dog's on the left. As soon as I do that, what does she do? She swings into it, habitual. She's done this before. She knows the spot. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach Madeline the way I taught Ellie, and we're going to see if we see a difference, okay? Madeline, come on in here. This is mechanical. Hold the leash in the right spot. Okay. If you hold this leash, come on over here. I want her to have a loose lead. I don't want, you ever see people where they're walking down the road and the dog's dragging them down the road?
Dog's taking them for a walk.
Can't stand it. Absolutely can't. I want to pull over and help that person because it makes me sick. I just can't stand it. What I want to have is that dog hip or a half step back. That's me personally. Some people will allow for a half step forward. I go, you know what? It's a half step out of my control. So what I want is a loose lead. I want you to hold this hand here and this hand here. And scooch a little closer to it. See how that collar, now, before we go into this, another mechanics thing. I'll show you this. So that's a slip lead. I use slip leads. They give me a little bit of correction. They allow for me to get some correction. Now, who knows what this is? What do you call it?
Choke chain or metal slip.
Choke chain, right? So that's what everyone calls them, is choke chains. I think if you go out and buy one right now, it'll say choke chain on the tag. It's called the choke chain. If you use this and it chokes your dog, you're using it the wrong way. What do you mean? It's the simplest tool in my bag. There's nothing rocket science on this. Look at our connection back here. Love it. Really nice. Okay, we're going to build on that. So this is a little side note on this slip collar. That one is softer. It's a nylon material. Not quite near the bite. Not quite the correction when she gets it. But this is designed to correct a dog. It's designed for a dog to understand a little bit of pressure to the neck. So when you put this on, okay, here, put it on your dog. So I give it to people. They have a 50-50 chance of getting it right. Most people, it just happens, they put it on the wrong way. So I give it to them, and they put it on the dog. So they slip it over the dog's their neck, and they go for a walk. Now I say, pick a side, left or right. I don't care what side you do, just be consistent. If you want to train them to do both later, that's fine. She does it on both sides, because I get too crowded on the left. She doesn't like crowds. I get 3-4 dogs on heel. She prefers to be on the right. That's fine. She's earned it. My young dogs, no. They're going to heel on the left side. So they put this on. You put it on the left. If you're heeling your dog on the left-hand side, I put it on, right? Looks right. It's loose right now. So then my dog steps out of zone, and I got to correct it. So I put correction on it. A quick snap and release. Quick snap, release. Quick snap, release. That's the point of these things. It's not to choke them. It puts pressure on, and it immediately releases when they get back into that spot that they need to be. But I put this on, loose, and then the pup stepped out, and I corrected it very sharp and quick, and I released, right? The same pressure of this right now is on my arm. If I leave this on right now, it'll start to turn purple. Because right now, it's pinched right now, and it's locked in that position. So it never released. So I choked a dog, and then I kept choking it, and then I kept choking it, and then I kept choking it. I'm still being choked. And I might be in the right spot, but you didn't turn the pressure off. So that little dog is going, it's back to the bed. I had one paw on, then I rolled over and I had my shoulder blade off. And then finally they decide to say, no, that's not the right, get on your place. Pup's going to go, the hell with you, I don't know what you want. Watch this. No magic, I turned it around. I put it back on. Same exact collar, just slipped it around the other way. I corrected, look what happened. I corrected, look what happened. As soon as I let it off, the pressure came off. If you put that thing on backwards, it doesn't work. So that's mechanics. Simple. So now, Madeline, I want you, now we're going to get her, we're going to teach her how I get this to go. So I want you to say, so here's my routine. Ellie, heel. Now, Ellie, I precede with the name. When I sent Spry on the food, all these little things. When I sent Spry on the food, I lined her up and I went, Spry. I sent it. I'm going to show you why in 5 minutes, 3 minutes, okay? But now, I'm going to precede this command with Ellie, heel. The reason I do that is because I'm going to show you with multiple dogs, I line them up and I go, Ellie, Taylor, eventually Spry. Spry doesn't work with other dogs right now. I have hard enough time with her by herself. But when we get to that point, I've already programmed these dogs to understand the name is valuable. The name has interest. So, I want you to say Ellie, heel, and I want you to just take off on a straight line. And then when you get down to here, I want you to just stop. And we're going to see if that pup stops with her or not. Right now, Madeline needs to develop feel with Ellie. And then, I'm going to have you keep going. I'm just going to have you turn around. We're going to do this back and forth a couple times. And I'm going to show you, it might not be good to start out, but I'm going to show you we're going to not be done until we get the win. It's going to end up pretty nice. So, Ellie, heel. I want you to feel her out. And then start off. There you go. Notice my dog's tail. Keep going straight. Keep going straight. Keep going straight. Come on back here, Madeline. Now, we're going to change that. Did anybody notice that? Okay, stop right there. So, Madeline was pretty confident starting out. And then she got to here, she goes, I don't know if he really wants me to keep going. So I was not clear in my instruction. So then she kind of stayed here. And then Ellie went to her and went, I don't know. What do you want to do? And all of a sudden, Ellie took a step to her, and Madeline went like this. And all of a sudden, Ellie's steering Madeline where Ellie kind of wanted to go there. And so now I'm going to show you. I'm going to go. See this? Can you slide this chair over? Just slide it like right in line here. So I'm going to have you. I want you right here. See that chair? I want you to walk a perfectly straight line through it. Here, without the dog. Just walk a straight line back, straight line through it. Go ahead. Like a boss. Perfect. Now come back here. Now I want you to do the exact same thing. I want you to hold Ellie. I want you to walk a straight line. I mean straight, like straight as an arrow. And I want you to say, Ellie, heel, and straight line too. Okay? Watch Ellie's eyes. Watch Madeline's mannerisms. Do it really confident. Keep walking. Keep walking straight to that chair. Stop. Now, come on back. Now turn around. Stop right there. Same thing. Ellie, heel, and walk right to me. Get her attention. She's got to look at you.
That was like karate, man. Say you.
Say it loud. Say
So
Ellie
here.
heel.
See, Ellie goes, I'm more interested in this. Now, here's how I'm going to show this. So I'm going to show you how to do this. It won't hurt her, I promise you. You see that? I didn't pull it very hard, right? I'm going to get super response out of that. I mean, you saw how soft that was. Not much. I want you to hold on to it. This hand and this hand. Now, she's got to have her hand in the right spot, because if her hand's too high, I'll take this for just a second. If her hand's too high, and I say correct her, she goes like this. Her hands can only go so high. If I hold on to this and I want quick correction, I didn't even get anything. So just physically where you put your hands matters. So put your hand right there. Right here. And now just give a little snap. There. Beautiful snap. That was about perfect as far as pressure. So now I want, when you walk her, if she pays attention to other people, I want you to go just like that. So Ellie, heel, and I want you to walk straight line to me. Go ahead. And stop. One correction it took in the feel, no correction needed on that one. She's gauging this little girl that quickly to be able to read her. And Madeline is going, my confidence is going up. And that little puppy is reading it. It's a perfect example of how quickly and how subtle a change can be to get exactly what. Now, I walked Ellie around the room and she did pretty good. It was a little loose. We dialed it in. Madeline took her around the room and looked like Ellie didn't know how to heel. But by changing Madeline, we changed Ellie. Ellie didn't change. She just connected. So turn her around, heel her back, and then when you get to that chair, I want you to stop, and I want you to turn this way. Okay? So you're going to walk up, and you're going to turn around. Okay? Go ahead. Give her a snap. If she doesn't listen, you give her that little bit of a correct. Stop, turn, and come right back to me. Come right back to me. Right back to me. Straight line, straight line, straight line. Come to me. Stop. Turn. Turn right around. And go right back in. Walk right into her. Don't. Straight line, go right to your chair, right to your chair. There. That was it. Keep doing it. Keep going. Did you see how she just bumped Ellie and Ellie went, whoa, she means it. Ellie wanted to steer her this way and Madeline decided, not today. I'm going where he told me to go. Beautiful. Bring her back here. Whoa. What side? What side though? What side? You swing around. There you go. And now what are you going to say to her? Ellie, heel. Beautiful. How about around? Now, you go up in front. I might need your help later. Okay, so. Good job. That was excellent. Next step. Why am I spending time talking about heel work as an example of all these steps to connect? Because I think it's important. I think it's valuable. I think it's equally as important to the mechanics. The mechanics are something we can train real easily in a DVD. It's really hard to get feel through a DVD. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit. I'm going to go to my training bag. Brown dummy. I use the brown dummy when we're starting to talk about sense. So shape first. So Ellie here. Sit. Now we'll get some dogs to wake up. Because these two big dogs have been laying and getting pretty bored. These two big dogs are not super driven by food. But I will tell you what does get them excited. Retrieving. This is the fun part. This is the part that gets guys excited. This is the part that most people jump on right away, and then they call me because they have issues because they have no control over their dog. You can't do this stuff until you have a foundation. Brown dummy. Put that out in the timber, put that out in the brush, hard to see. Put some scent on it, now I get a dog who uses his nose to find shape that he struggles with visually. White dummy. Color contrast. It's pretty easy, right? So we start out with the white one. I start out with it being visual. I start out with the dog's confidence with the shape. Ellie's picked up a hard horn less times than I have fingers. She picked up her first shed last weekend, only because I found one. But she probably wasn't to the point that I normally would have said, let's start doing hard horns. She's ready now, but I've put it off. You know what I've been working on? Bumpers. She's a little gun dog and I want to handle her, and so I've been focusing more on that right now than my shed stuff. Can you train them to do both at the same time? For sure. So, it's a different shape. It's a different shape, it's a different smell, it's the same reward. Use your nose, use your eyes, find something, pick it up, bring it back to me. There's a reason my dogs don't pick up pop bottles. Because I don't train them to pick up pop bottles. Could I? I could. Did I have one that did it? I did. You know why? I got a 7-year-old daughter that thought it was cool. I walked around the corner of the house I had this dog that was nice. He just went home. Real nice dog. Went to Texas. Newman was his name. Newman was fine. He was a fine dog. Tracking dog, shed dog. Guy's gonna bird hunt with him. He doesn't do much shed stuff. He's gonna bird hunt with him. Will he convert him? Easily. So that little dog was picking up antlers for me, picking up antler shape for me, steady. And all of a sudden, one day I go, take him for a walk. He's quartering out, and he brings me a pop bottle. What the heck's this about? I didn't want to really discourage him because he's relatively young. I don't like discouraging dogs for retrieving stuff. I just don't have them second guess. If I thought it's weird, why is he bringing me a pop bottle? So then he did it again. So then I don't know where this is coming from. The next day, I go around the corner and we got a 7-year-old. Jared, come here and look at this. What? Look what I taught Newman. Recycle bin. Empty the recycle bin off. He'll bring it right back to you. So do my dogs retrieve ducks because they like ducks? No. They retrieve ducks because I've conditioned a duck to equally retrieve. The same is true with an antler dog. My dogs don't like antlers because they're antlers. They like antlers because I associate it with retrieve. Elliot. Good. Good. Hold. Hold. Did. Now, did you hear my whistle go beep, 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 beep? That's a recall. I walk around with the puppy right now and the puppy just follows me around. Pavlov ringing a bell. What's the puppy doing when I'm walking around whistling? Following. So now with her, she hit that first one and there's a second one there. So was she going to go and switch on me, or was she? I don't want that. She's hold conditioned. She shouldn't. But I got my whistle and I went. That tone, that increased whistle, you might have missed it. I had to get on it a little bit. And she went, okay. She came back now. Ellie. Lots of control. That's way more tempting than a stop to whistling. I have to have it. Ellie. She doesn't even see it. It's in the shadow. She doesn't see it. Let her work. Very good. Very good. Very good. Come on. See how she's figuring out how to pick this thing up? How many times has she picked up hard horns? Not very often. Good. Did. So, we throw it, and we get dogs to make retrieves and condition the idea of the shape. The next question most people will ask me is, my dog does that every time. I can throw it out and put scent on it and do all this stuff, and they always find it. Always. Gotta get Taylor in on the action. Taylor, come on. Taylor is at a point in her life right now where she's gotten a little bit lazy on me. She's just had a litter of pups. I'm conditioning her back. So you're going to see slow motion out of her. Everything she does these days is slow motion. So I'm trying to just get a little zip into her. So I get a lot more tone with her than I used to. But now, here's the difference. Taylor, heel. So the last drill I just did, come on, old lady. Come on, come on, come on. Now, balance is what I'm searching for. And who's a science person? We've got the math person here. Science, homeostasis. Balance. Our ability to naturally balance out. Wyatt Anderson, I hope you're watching that. He's a biology teacher. We had a long conversation about homeostasis recently. So, but it's balance. I'm always searching for, I call it balance, he calls it homeostasis. Tomato, tomato, right? Balance is what I'm looking for in this dog. Does she want to work fast right now? Slow as molasses. So what do I need? Pick her up. Come on, let's go. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Let's go. Come on, 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 come on. She wants to slow down, I'm going faster. If I got a dog that is so amped up, here's my pace. You're going to figure it out to balance with me. Taylor. Good. Come on, come on, come on. Good girl, very good, very good. Yeah, here. Hold. Hold. What's the difference between what I just did there? Come on, place. What's the difference between what I just did there and what I did with Ellie? Anybody see it?
You took her way down there and then came back with her?
Yeah. Yeah. I call it a memory. Okay? So I pitched 2 bumpers. Lined her up center. What did I do when I lined her up in center? Did anybody see me feed Spry? What did I do when I fed Spry? Put a bowl of food down there. I came back. I lined her up center underneath. So it starts today with this little dog in her mind. This whole process of this retrieve thing, we're starting it here. Then I went with her, and I pitched it. Okay? It's when they're little, I'm struggling with it with her right now. I don't know why. I've closed all the doors in the hallway. I used a balled up sock. I've used puppy bumpers. I've used all sorts of stuff, and I can't get this puppy to make a little retrieve for me. I was to the point of boiling over. live. The people that are live totally get it, because it got hot in my house for a little while, right? I was sweating profusely. Well, I couldn't get the little pup, so I've decided I'm going to figure out a different way. I've taken a step back from it, and I'm firming up some of the other stuff. We'll tackle that when we get there. Here's the thing. This is a quote that I love. Nature never rushes, yet everything is accomplished. That's mind-blowing. Everything happens without a clock, without a calendar. It just happens. And it all gets done. With these dogs, if you are on, now we've got trainers in here, and I understand that trainers have to work on time, because it's a business function. I mean, you probably have rates for training based on how much time you put into them, right? How else do you do it? So I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Here's how I do a dog. I train it for a client. I get it when they're a puppy. The dog goes home when the dog's ready, I'm ready, and the owner's ready. And I don't know how long that will be. That's why I don't do that many of them. Because I just don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it. I don't believe there's any way to speed train a dog. So this little puppy, when I get to the point when does she have retrieve in her? She's from the Ducks Unlimited dog and the Whitetails Unlimited dog. The genetic, her paperwork is better than mine will ever be. That maybe isn't saying much. But she's got all the genetics. I have to figure out how to get them out. So I also have a little dog that normally I can't tie out very easily without them fighting. And she's tied out, and she's been a saint. She hasn't even whimpered hardly at all. So I go, I'm really confused. You're throwing me for a loop. That's why, as a trainer, I'm never done learning. That's why we're always learning new stuff. So the difference, she picked it out, was when I went down there and set the antler down, and I came back, and I sent Taylor on it, what's the difference? I put distance and I put time in between something that did not come from my hand. I have 3 emails to respond to people if they're watching right now. My dog retrieves it every time when I throw it, but when I find him on the ground, when I put him on the ground, she runs right by him. You went from A to Z. Dogs don't learn that way. Dogs go from A to B, from B to C, from C to D. We get them to Z, but I have to take steps to get them there. I can't get this little puppy to do all the stuff that I'm asking Taylor to do until I do the little puppy stuff first. It's the foundation. Can't build a building without a foundation. So the difference with this trailing memory is now my dog has to realize not everything comes from his hand. Not everything has to be thrown. My little shed dog's got to use their nose, quarter and cast, work their nose, work their eyes, see something, make a retrieve. Retrieve it, not because it's an antler. Retrieve it because it equals retrieve, and that's the reward. So, boy, where do I, it's getting, how much time? It's an hour and a half into it already.
Yeah, you set the schedule here. That's all you.
So I'm going to keep going. If you guys got time,
Charger, I think it's gonna die.
you guys got to go. I won't be hurt very fast. But I'm getting into it. Like I don't know if you can tell, but I'm feeling some energy right now. So I want to get more shed stuff. So when we start doing that, that's a big step, right? The next thing I want to do, how can I get back up a little bit? Hunt command for my puppy. So I'll show it to you the first. I'll show you to you the end. We'll use a real antler. And I'll put some scent on it. Now, I think you also have to be realistic with conditions. I don't know what the conditions are here. Now, if you notice Taylor is a pretty lazy dog. Taylor's not paying much attention to anything right now. Did she see me? Did she hear that? Maybe. I don't know. I'm going to talk for a little bit and put some time in between it, and then I'm going to give her a hunt command. And my hunt command is always find it. So I don't care what you say, just be consistent. So hunt command. Let me start out. We'll put some time into it. Little pup, wake up. Your turn. It's going to be tough to show you exactly here, but let me give you an idea. We're going to start it with this pup. I've been meaning to do it for a while now. The nice part about this is, does anybody see the food? Maintenance crew, right? We got a good one. So, does anybody see the food right now? I see a couple pieces, but if I close my eyes and I look back, this is mind-boggling, this carpet, it's lost into it. Now, what I would prefer to have is a perimeter. So, I prefer to have, if I have grass, I'll take a lawnmower and I'll mow a circle, about that big. And then what I'll do is I'll take a little bit of food and I'll sprinkle it into that taller grass. That's cover to this dog. So cover doesn't mean 40 acres of CRP. Cover might be 10 square feet of grass that's 2 inches longer than the grass around it. So again, create your own cover. I've got snow. So what I can do is I can go out to a spot that's got snow and I can shovel everything around it. A little bit of snow and I can sprinkle food in. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to figure out where my wind is. I don't know where it is in here. But I'm going to try to figure out where my wind is. Then I'm going to set the puppy down. And I'm going to let the puppy do her thing. She's never done this. Ever. What is she looking to me for? What do you want me to do, Dad? I like that. I'm going to get her a little confidence and go, you don't have to sit, little girl. She's habitual. She goes, I've done this before. I sit down and he sends me on a bowl of food. That's what she's thinking right now. What I'm going to say is, let's go. Watch her nose. I'm not sure, so I'm not saying a word. But when it happens, I'll be right there. Find it. Find it. Good girl. Very good. Very good. She goes, wow. That was all right. Got a piece of food. How did she find that piece of food? All right here. Let's watch her now. As she loosens up here and goes, I can move around. Find it. Find it. Find it. Find it. Oh, wow. This is interesting. Find it. Find it. Find it. Find it. Find it. Find it. No. Just gonna let her work. Find it. Find it. Find it. Good girl. Very good. Watch, she's loosening up on her tail. Find it. Good girl. Find it. 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 She gets out of the zone. I don't see it anymore. Now she goes, oh, this is way more fun. Here's where I wouldn't set it up this way. I'd have her by herself in the yard. I want her to find one more. No. Come on. Tone of voice. Did you see that little bit of find it? Find it. 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 Good girl. Very good. That's a good girl. Yeah. I'll let the Cabela's crew clean right now. There's a couple pieces there. So what did I just do? Very first time. You saw it for the very first time. She starts to understand, what do I say? I hope I'll probably be able to listen to it. Am I consistent when I say, find it, 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 find it. When I take my dogs out to the bathroom, I go, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Because I know when I put her on, look at her eyes right now, I'm waiting for her to squat and pee. Because when she goes and hits the ground, she's going to go. So I go outside and I go, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. I do it with every dog so often that when I go outside and I tell a dog, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, I almost have to go. Like it's and I'm not joking. It's I live out in the country, so if you can't pee off your porch, man, you ain't living. But, so I have programmed these dogs to be triggered by certain noises. Taylor, find it. 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 Very good. Very good. That's a good girl. That's a good girl. What had more value to Taylor? Hold. Did. Now, was that her little hunt? She went right through. There's 3 pieces of food right here. I can see them. She went right through them. Her find it command is the same find it command that we started with this dog. It's just we just started it with her and she doesn't know what the hell it means. After I do this for about a week, when I say find it, find it, find it, look who perks up. And if you look very closely right now, their noses are going like this. It's Pavlov ringing the bell, except their understanding, find it means I have to use my nose, there's something to be found, I'm going to get something good. She did, it was a retrieve, it was enamored. So I've connected this hunt now into it. So we realize they're not going to come from our hands throwing, so we can add distance by trailing memories. We can go from trailing memories to blind retrieves. Blind retrieves, I need a dog that takes a nice line. I need a dog that'll... So what have I been doing with this puppy in feeding? I'm setting her up to take nice lines. I do a lot of loop memories. I do a lot of circle memories. I like memories. I get to the point where, Ellie, here. Come on, you're next. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. So Ellie, we'll put her in the spotlight over here. Should have brought my bag. That dog right now, there's a tempting one. Tennis balls are the big, gotta be careful. Tennis balls are great training tools. Gotta be careful, because they're also very tempting. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things you guys throw. That loses 1 tennis ball. Okay? So, who thinks that when my dog sees something get thrown, she has to get a retrieve? Very seldom do I throw things to this dog at this age. Steady. Now, I'd like to take this dog to a dump line with me, because I think she'd do pretty nice. She's pretty steady in shot. As an upland dog, she's steady to flush. I don't like flushing hens and spending most of my day recovering a dog that has chased birds. As my dog flushes, I teach a dog to sit to the flush. Flush, sit, heel. Heel. Good. Go pick it up yourself. Most of the time, so when I say I don't throw things, I'm a liar. I throw a lot of things in training. I just don't let them pick them up. I'll pick them up myself. Yep. Those are denials. So we're going to give these dogs denials to steady them up. We're going to let them find the memories. So now I've got some dogs. They're starting to understand that it doesn't always come from your hand, right? Quartering and casting. We do a chapter in our DVD, our shed DVD. I would use a room about, I wouldn't use a room, but I'd use a field about this wide with cover, and I'd have mowed strips on each end of it. And I'd work in a 45-degree angle, and when my dog hit the strip, I'd start it this way, and I'd beep, 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 beep. And what I'm doing is bringing out natural cast and quarter to get dogs to work. But when the whistle, my dogs respond to the whistle. Taylor. Come on. Come on, let's go. Come on. She goes, I don't know if I really want to do this yet. You're not out of it. Come on. Come on. Come on. See that slow motion? Guess what Jared's working on at home? Getting more life into her. She's too flat right now. Good. So the whistle helps me with sit to the whistle, helps me with stop, helps me with recall, helps me with quartering and casting. That's part of my little shed dog. Come on, please. So the scent part of it, I just want to talk real quick on this. Then we're gonna wrap it up because I think we covered a lot of stuff, guys. So, and if you know me, I'd ramble all day, but so here's what I'm going to try. This is for the science people. Scent when it comes to an animal. The question is asked, maybe more often than, there's a couple that come up all the time. What do these things smell like? Okay. First off, I think the dog people, I hope, are on board with me on this. Because I get so discouraged and I get so frustrated at the idea of people not realizing. You know who really taught me a lot about this? more than any dog person in the world is canine trainers, like police dogs, drug dogs, bomb dogs. Those guys train dogs to use noses, and lives depend on them. Mine, if we find a shed or not, if we get a bird or not. So I like my pressure level a lot more than some of these guys that are canine guys. These canine guys are like to the next degree, like 10,000 times. But I think it's important to understand how dogs use their nose, how they scent. Because the question comes up all the time is, well, how strong are these things? How far away can they smell them? Do they really smell? Do they lose their scent over years? Big issues and questions of, well, doesn't it smell like me because I'm training with it? All these, it's not finding them in the wild because it doesn't have my scent on it. Here's my demonstration. Hoping this makes sense. Because I've tried to explain it. Here's the thing with dogs. Dogs process scent completely differently than we do. A dog's nose is so acute, like hard to put. Here's an analogy, or here's an example. A tablespoon of sugar. This is just to give you a background on dog nose. Tablespoon of sugar, it's not very much. You could put it in an Olympic-sized swimming pool, 250,000 gallons of water. Pool, big. Then you can take a pool of water next to it with no sugar in it. The dog's noses are so acute that they can sense that, they can process that, and smell that the one pool has sugar versus the other. Diabetic alert dogs. I don't know if you've ever heard of diabetic alert dogs. The kennel that I get these pups from is Wild Rose Kennels. They're down in Oxford, Mississippi. They went on a thing where they were training all sorts of these little diabetic alert dogs to go into schools, because juvenile diabetes is a big issue. Going into schools, going into hospitals, they like them because they're smaller dogs, their disposition and temperament fits real well. So these little dogs have been trained to detect highs and lows in people that have diabetes, kids specifically. They can detect, it's been shown that they can detect a high or low in a kid 20 minutes before the test. The dog shows a high or a low, so they prick the kid's finger and they test it. Nope, nothing's wrong. 20 minutes later, they prick the kid's finger and it's got a high or a low. The dog sensed it before the science test can even sense it. So I want you to understand how important it is to understand how strong these dogs' noses are. Okay, so there's an analogy that I found. I wrote an article and I searched it out. It was about dogs' noses. But it was this. So if you think of a dog's nose like our eyes, what I can see at a third of a mile, I think it is. That's like a max. At a third of a mile, what I can see, my dog can see it over 30 miles. With their nose now, not visual, but with their nose. So the amount of receptors that a dog has is, I don't want to misquote it, it's a lot, okay? They smell really good, right? So let's simplify it. Now, dogs process scent in layers. That's why drug dogs work. That's why bomb dogs work. That's why shed dogs work. That's why dogs' noses. So when I walk in the room and she's making vegetable soup, she's a hell of a cook. I always get that. I gotta get brownie points. So when she walks in and vegetable soup is cooking, I walk in the kitchen and I smell vegetable soup. It smells good. It smells real good. I smell vegetable soup. My dog walks in and smells salt, pepper, carrots, peas, the water, the minerals that are in my water, everything in my house. And they all processed individually. But it happens at such a quick time. It's like a scanner going through a computer. It'll pick up a virus. Like, it's processing billions of things instantly. That's how their noses work. Okay? So there's my background. Now, I've heard people talk about, well, you have to, let me tell you this. Antler has a ton of things that smell. Bone is one of them. Bone's part of this. Look real closely here. You'll see little pieces of hair. There's one right there. That right there is dried blood. So blood, when this was found fresh, I guarantee you that was red. You know, if we had found it fresh, that was red. It's now turned kind of green. As the blood dries onto the bases, they get kind of discolored. I found some last weekend. They have this green, mucusy type slime on them. I don't know what it is. It's got scent to it, my dog, guaranteed. You look at this close enough, you'll see that there's bark in the base of this. Bucks rub all year long. Forehead glands on a buck. There's a reason that they have a forehead gland for rubbing and placing scent. That's incorporated into this shed antler. How long does it last? I don't know. It dissipates over time. But there's other elements that don't dissipate ever. There's other elements that are introduced to this scent. You know, we found a shed last weekend that my buddy's dad had found. He saw it. It was on the side of a bluff. And he told us about it. He took a picture, never touched it. He said, I'll save it for you guys. You guys come with the dogs. We came the next weekend. So we went and looked for it. Well, we're working, it's a big bean field, standing beans. So we're working through. My buddy's got a 10-month-old dog that's never found a shed before. Hope he's listening. It's a great story. He's probably proud of it. I'm proud of it. But he's got this little dog, and this little dog works through, and I saw a shed laying there. Nice one. So I said, there's one right there. Let's all stop. We got kids, we got dogs. All stop. Wyatt, you come over, circle down with Millie, it's her name, and let Millie find it. So he does that. He works Millie. Took 3 or 4 minutes. Finally, Millie, he worked her past, and she went past it. Then he worked her back, and then the wind was changed. I said, I tried over here. As soon as you get into that right spot, give her a little tone. Find it, find it, find it. Now, he's telling her to find it, because we know there's something there. I don't say find it all the time, because there might not be something there. My dog will call BS. I want find it to know there's something there to be found. So I said, give it to her, give it to her, give it to her. Find it, find it, find it, find it, find it. And all of a sudden, Millie is going, and her tail is like this, and all of a sudden she works and works and works and works, and the tail goes like this, and it just starts to pick up, and I said, get her, get her, get her, find it, find it, find it, find it, find it, find it, find it. Boom, she found it. And why? Yeah, good girl, praise, 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 praise. Treat her like she saves the world. That little puppy thought she did. So we praised her and praised her and praised her. So then, that's not where that shed was when his dad found it. So we go through, and we know where it is, because he sits right down from the blind. So we go look, it's not there. We walked over it, right? So we went back, not there. Walked over it, not there. He takes out the phone and looks at the picture. The picture of the shed that is laying in the snow from a week ago, and the snow had melted. It's a different shed. It's the same shed. It's in a different spot. How did it get there? I got 3 people this week that sent me pictures of coyotes with sheds in their mouth. It moved 100 yards. Guess what? When the coyote picked it up and carried it over and dropped it and left it, what was on that antler? Scent from the mouth of the coyote. Ever find a chewed shed? You ever found a shed that's been chewed? What chews on it? Mice, squirrels, chipmunks, porcupines. When that touches this shed, does it change its scent? It adds another layer to it. It adds another layer to it. It adds another layer to it. There's all these things. So here's my thing. You guys are guinea pigs. So, this is the antler. I chose the Wild. Remember, I'm a Bears fan. Guess who I support in hockey? I get to watch the Wilds a lot because we get them at our house all the time. I can't cheer for them this year; they're too good. So I went with the Wild though. So here's the antler. This is the scent. I'm a sports guy, so I use sports stuff. Okay. Here's the antler, the actual bone. Okay. Now I'm training dogs. What else smells? Hair. This is hair. Okay. This is blood. This is the coyote. This is the mouse. This is the green mucusy stuff. This is the tree bark. This is the forehead gland scent. This is something else that smells that it touched. This is something else that it smells that it touched. This, I can't tell you how many scents are on this thing. Thousands. Thousands. All sorts of influence of scent. It's all there. So I trained my dog. Here's another one. So I trained my dog to understand that when you see or smell an antler, it equals a retrieve. Now they have to see it to get the retrieve. It has to physically be there. So when the dog goes through and works, it smells all this stuff. Now, in training, all these might not be here. I'm simulating as many of them as I can in this. I make this. I batch it all myself. We have a bottling company that bottles it for me, but I batch it. When we first started out, this thing started out in my mom and dad's basement. It grew to be in my basement. It grew to be in another garage. Then it grew to be in a co-pack company. Then it grew to our warehouse. Like, it's taken a lot of steps. When this first started, this was filled by me and my Kool-Aid pitcher, and I twisted the caps on. And I had blisters because I twisted so many freaking caps on. I went to a bottling company. So this is made by me. Guess how many scent clues there are in here? It's not just bone. It's not just blood. It's not just hair. What does it say on it? Pulverized, made with pulverized antler, trace elements of hair and blood. Is that all that's in it? No. Am I going to put everything that's on it? No. No. That's not the way I do it. So I'm training my dogs, and you're going to train your dogs if you use this, to find a whole bunch of scent elements. Can I capture them all? No. But can I capture a bunch of them? Can I capture enough that I think it'll be there all the time? Yes. Now, let's say this is the shed that's laying there, and my dog comes across it, and it smelled the hair or the blood or one of these combinations. It found the shed. It gets the retrieve. The shed is there. It gets the retrieve. It gets the reward. Now let's say it comes across an antler. The mucus isn't there, and the tree bark wasn't there. Will my dog be able to process this and go, I got to go check this out? And then I see the visual, and I see the shed, and I pick it up, and I break it. Yeah. Now this time, we're going to take a couple of these away. But I am going to have those. So my dog goes through, and because my dog's nose processes each one of these individually, it sees the ball, it sees the racquetball, it sees the little birdie, it sees every one of these things with its nose, and it goes, I better go check that out. And lo and behold, the shed was there. It picked it up. Now, I've heard people say, if you put, I haven't used this one yet. This one's my scent in training. It's inevitable. You know what else my training antlers smell like? Everything in this bag. It's just scent that's been added to it. Some is there, some is not. So now my dog comes through and he smells the clues, each individually, and this time he sees the antler and he picks it up and he gets the retrieve. Does it matter if this is there or not? Because if this isn't here, in the wild, this isn't here. What else is? The same stuff to bring my dog over to pick up and find it to me, bring it to me. So add all the parts and pieces in, and then start pulling some of them and moving them and adding new ones. But the bottom line is there's enough of them there to get the dog to invest. My dog goes and smells every time a coyote marks or urinates on something. My dog goes and checks it out, whether I want him to or not. If I associate that with a potential find of shed, that's one more element I'm exposing them to that realistically is there a lot of the times. So that's why this, the idea of the gloves. I've heard people say use gloves. Smell your hands. What's your name?
Brian.
What is it?
Brian.
Brian, smell your hands right now. You smell them? Okay, he doesn't smell them. I don't smell mine. Smell these gloves. You smell them? What do they smell like?
Rubber.
Smell like a rubber glove. So if your dog, if you think that by throwing that in there, you'll fix all your problems with the dog and human scent, you'll have a dog that looks at rubber gloves and smells rubber gloves and goes, that might be one of the elements that I have to find in order to find the shed. So you're not fixing anything. I don't think you're causing more problems, but I think you're wasting a lot of time. If you're going to feel like, I need to clean this all off. That's all that's there when I train. You'll never train. You'll never be. I think it's insulting to a dog's nose. It's like saying, I'm going to go through I wouldn't do this, but let's like saying I'm going to go through the airport with a bag of dope, but I'll beat them because I'll put it in a Ziploc bag. Ain't going to happen. So don't waste your time. I think it's a question that comes up a lot. So, feel is the last part of this, and it's a lot like bird dogs with birds. I don't introduce bird dogs to birds until they've seen everything leading up to it. I don't get a little puppy, put it in a pen with a rooster, and hope I get a pheasant dog. I don't put a little puppy in a pen with a shed, and hope I turn into a shed dog. It's not like they can sleep on top of the hook and absorb the information. I used to think that would happen. I tried it. It didn't work. So that's not how the dogs learn. We got to reverse engineer it. We got to back up to the very beginning when we have that, and we got to start looking at imprinting good habits really early on that lead me to be able to do the next thing. I like the analogy of links in a chain. The end game is a big long chain. All the links are the skill sets that I have to have in order to get the chain. So, a lot of information, guys. Like, there's a ton. So, what I would say right now is, if I'm you, which I was you, I sat in and I listened to as many people as I could. I recommend you do it. I recommend you listen to every trainer you can listen to. Because I think you're going to learn stuff. I learned stuff that helps me, that I can take. Here's the thing about dog training. People have been training dogs for a really long time. No one reinvented dog. No one's going to reinvent dog training. It's the one thing that, we can improve on it just like anything else, but the fundamental part of dogs training is dogs. And they're not training. We're not making that much better dogs, and it's significantly measurable from what it was in 1700. But in 1700, they didn't have a lot of the technology that we have today. Well, the technology only gets us so much with dog training. It's a lot of, you can listen all you want, you have to go out and do it. Okay, so you got to execute some stuff. But the one thing that I think is, you listen to as many people talk about it, and you figure out what fits for you. You figure out what fits for the dog you're training. Because I've learned a lot. Everything I know is because I picked other people's brains and I listened to other people. And then what I found was I learned what to do, and sometimes I learned what not to do. I don't call people up and go, I don't do that. But I might listen to them and go, that doesn't work for me because of this. Some of the stuff I do, you might go, you know what, that's not my style. I don't know what your style is. You don't know what your style is until you get into it and you feel it out. Madeline's got a nice little style. So she right now is soft. She's soft. We could work with her just like we do our 7-year-old daughter. We could turn her into a really nice little dog trainer. But it's just basic stuff, mechanics, and feel, and combining the two. And that, I think, is where we really struggle in. A lot of people want to separate those two and just be okay with one. So like I said before, good mechanics and good feel make great dogs. You can have good dogs with either one. I'm not interested in good ones. I want great ones. So it's all, and that's all relative. So anybody have any questions? I should say this. I said so much stuff today, it's probably overwhelming. I'm overwhelmed. I'm the one who said it. So here's what I would recommend. Digest it a little bit. Some of you don't have your dog yet. Some of you do, and your dogs are at varying levels of where these dogs are. Figure out where you are. This card, I think you can apply everything on this card, regardless of the age of your dog, because for the most part, this stuff isn't specific. This isn't real mechanical. This is like macro, big picture type stuff. Now take that and apply it to wherever you are and wherever your dog is on a micro, and then build on it. Anybody got any questions?
For a dog that doesn't care so much about food, like when you took that one, you have him try to,
For Find It?
Yeah.
So what does your dog like? He doesn't like food.
My dog
Yeah, his dog.
Yeah.
wants to play with
Well, that's
light
it.
on.
Yeah,
Oh,
she's
okay.
very focused
Okay.
on his
That one I can't replicate
Yeah.
that reward. So
Yeah,
I
or
won't be.
cat,
Sure.
the cat will get her excited,
So
but she
so
could care less.
it's more of a from a search. You want a dog to search stuff. You want to figure out what the dog. So it's hunt. It's natural. So what I think you need to do is your dog has to start to first off before even any of that stuff. Like I know some people, they got into some shed stuff. They're using our products for their like a league. They're starting like a league. They're on the East Coast, and they're doing. They use different types of breeds to like hunt mice and stuff in barns. So it's like I forget what it's called, but it's a hunt game for these different breeds, not retrieving breeds. So you've got a border collie, right? So she's got a border collie. So what I want to do is I think you look at it and you go, if my end game is the dog to find these antlers and pick them up and bring them back to me, I have to figure out that first to get her to understand that that's what you want. Because she'll get excited about that. Then you might, so hunt is a very natural thing. So if I would try it with food. Instead
You
of,
don't eat her food at mealtime.
so how do you get her to eat?
I leave it down.
Don't leave it down. That's why.
She's skinny.
Free food. So I don't free feed. So free feed creates a dog that goes, food's not that valuable because it's always here. I can get it whenever I want. I can't get her to eat quickly if she has food all the time. So
I
feed,
will put it up, but like if she goes to that spot, I'll put it down for her.
don't.
But she'll want
So
it.
here's the thing. 2 times a day. So how much do you feed? How much does she consume in an average day?
Well, between 3 to 5 cups, depending. Because she's thin.
So it's between 3 to 5 cups. Flip a coin. We're going to go 4. 4 cups a day. So I'd break it into 2 feedings. And I'd say, you get 2 cups in the morning, and you get 2 cups at night. And that time, I'd make her work to get it. In the first couple days, she's going to go, not that interested. So put the food up. Give her 10 minutes to eat. And then put the food up. And then tomorrow morning, do it again. Ask her to do something, and give her the reward. If she goes, I'm not interested, put the food up after 10 minutes. And by the time, science is going to take over here pretty quick. She's going to get hungry. And she's going to go, I don't have all day to eat. I got this amount of time to eat. I got to eat. It's time for me to focus on something. So feed her twice a day. It might take a couple days. And you'll go, I'm going to starve my dog to death. No, you're going to teach your dog to realize this isn't free feeding. You eat when I let you eat. Leaders always eat first. It's an easy way for me to teach that little dog. Thing of crackers. Before I feed her, I'll eat 3 crackers in front of her. Then I'll feed her. And she goes, he's the boss. He eats first. It's a pack. My big dogs eat before my little dog. My little dog watches. She's down here in our pack. Will she get up on some of my other dogs? I don't control that. They'll figure that out. I'm not going to let them figure it out by free play and wrestling, because that goes back to forming bad habits that I have to train out later. My dogs don't free play. But people will go, well, that's not very fun for your dog. And I'll ask them, when's the last time you took them to a banquet with 6,000 people and got petted so much they didn't have any hair left when they were done? Is this a rough life? My dogs live a pretty rough life. They got it pretty easy. They had to earn it. If they didn't do this, I couldn't bring them with. So change the design of the feeding, and you'll change the habit of her eating. But it's like I'm looking at you in the eyes right now, and you're going, I'm not doing that. Then it won't change. So I had a girl ask me on Facebook Live the other night, and she said, my dog does really well with me. She's sending me videos. She's on board. She's drinking the Kool-Aid. That's what I like, right? So she is doing this stuff. And now her little dog is becoming pretty nice. She's very happy about it. And she's got a daughter, I think, that is doing well with. And she's got a son that is struggling. And she's got a baby that's really eroding everything we're doing. She said, I know, like, the baby's only a year old, likes to drop toys and play with the pup and wrestle with them and play. I could get away with that with him because the puppy's young. The puppy will understand that it's just with that baby because she's a baby, right? That stuff happens in cartoons when dogs think like people. That's Pluto stuff. I said no. I was firm. I changed my tone. I said, no, you're going to change the culture. I didn't even talk about culture today. I think culture is important. Raising dogs in the right culture, just like raising kids in the right culture. So if you don't buy into it and you don't go, yes, I'm going to make that change and it's going to be tough, but I'm going to make it, then you won't see results. If you decide, you know what, that's not going to be very easy to do, but I am going to do it, and I'm going to be consistent, and I'm not going to quit after the 2nd or 3rd day because she hasn't eaten yet. I'm going to stick with it. And then all of a sudden, I call them light bulb moments. Light bulb turns on. There's nothing better than that in training. Sometimes it takes a long time. Sometimes it happens very quickly. I'm waiting for a light bulb moment with that puppy on a few things. I've had a few, which is what keeps me going. So you're gonna have to. Be tough. I'll help you. Anybody else got questions?
Generally speaking, is it a lot harder or not really any to train a shed dog if it's older in life, if it's been retrieving birds for 6, 8 years?
Then I think you probably have a very good foundation, and you'll go through the process a lot quicker because you've got it. You've got the foundation. Now it's the fun stuff. Now it's shape and smell and correlating that with retrieve. The problem I see with older dogs is oftentimes folks get excited about the idea of this cross-training, and I know you can do it. I've done it myself. My first shed dog was 8, so I did it. What I found is a lot of times to do what I'm saying you should do from a drill standpoint, mechanic standpoint, in order to do that, you have to have some foundation. You can't do a trailing memory if your dog doesn't heel and sit and stay really well. You can't do it. You can't do denials if your dog doesn't sit and stay and resist temptation and be focused. So you can't do a lot of the drills that I'm saying you should do if you don't have that foundation. So what I find is a lot of older dogs get to the fun stuff quicker, and they get through this process quicker if they have the foundation. The problem I see is you oftentimes, going through this exposes some things. And you go, oh boy, I got some holes. You can't get through them until you fill those holes in. So sometimes I say, go for it, and then they go, all hell's breaking loose, doesn't work. Back up. Because I'll be able to tell you 99% of the time where problems come from is connected to foundation work. You guys know that. Foundation is everything. So if you guys have issues that come up in it, it's usually not the shed hunting part. It's usually not the fun stuff. It's the foundation. So you might have to go back. Now, what I'm saying, the problem with that is you might have an 8-year-old dog like I had who may have 8 years of habits. It takes 10 times as long to train a bad habit out than a good habit in. Does that mean it'll take 80 years to train it up? No. I think the 10 times thing is for impact. I think it's real, wow, that's a lot. So it's a lot. It takes a lot longer to train a bad habit up than a good habit. It will require you to be 100% consistent with the new habit. Change the old. But you can do it. Anybody else?
How do you get a puppy like that to drop whatever he's retrieving?
I don't want him to be honest with you. I don't. Puppy like that, if she's retrieving to me, I'm sharing it with her. Because the next thing I'm going to do is hold conditioning at a certain age, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That one I did it at close to a year old, a little later than normal, but hold is what, if you notice the big dogs, when they brought it back, they weren't dropping it. They were holding it. And I reminded them, hold. So they've been hold conditioned, not force fetch. Don't force fetch. That puts negative pressure in and I'm not interested in that. I get the same result, which is a nice delivery to hand, by bringing out what I think that you can do naturally. So when she comes in, I'm right there to share it with her and tell her how good she is. Now eventually I have to take it out. So eventually I'll roll the gums up, I'll take it out of her mouth. But I'm going to, before I do that, I'm going to pet her under her chin, I'm going to tell her how good she is, I'm going to want her to hold on to it as long as possible. Because if you do this now with a little puppy, hold conditioning is very easy down the road. If you get into the habit where dogs start playing keep away, or tug of war, or dropping early, or if you're a treat trainer and you teach dogs that they retrieve it and you give them food, well, hell, what do they got to do to get the food? They got to spit something out of their mouth. So you get to the point where they start anticipating the next move. It's no different than the duck dog guy who clicks the safety off, the dog's gone. Well, it didn't start because of the safety. Someone might have seen that before. So it's not because of the safety that released it, it's because what does the safety lead to? The safety leads to shooting. What does the shooting lead to? The shooting leads to birds down. What does this birds down lead to? Retrieves. The dog starts going, I know what's coming, and anticipating. So when I start treat training dogs, bring this to me, I'll give you a piece of, the reward is the retrieve, not the food. So when the dog comes to me and I got to give it, what does it have to do before it can get its reward? Spit that out. So what will happen is they'll get down there and they'll come back and they'll see me going for my little treats and they'll go, boom, drop that. Come on, Dad, give me my food. So you're forming habits that you got to train on. So don't be in a hurry to get out of them. If you do a nice job really on that stuff, hold conditioning is easy. It goes quicker. If you don't, it's harder. It's an uphill battle. Good question. Anybody else? Set a new record for seminar times, probably. I appreciate you guys coming. So, what it tells, like, this is a good group. You guys drove 160 miles?
Yeah.
So, I can't tell you how much that means for you to see that people are that interested, are that willing to spend their Saturday afternoon with me. So, I want to thank you guys. I also want to let you know, so most of you know already, but the live thing on our Facebook, we're going to continue to do it. We're doing Instagram. We're doing some live training on Instagram. Dogbone Hunter is that was what you call it, right? At Dogbone Hunter, that's our thing. That's our YouTube, that's our website. All of our stuff, just about all of our stuff is here at Cabela's. So on that little card that I gave you, that's our email or our website. If you buy this package, you got one. You look on the back of it, that's my cell phone number. People thought I was nuts when I put it on there. I said, you know what? If I'm not there to help people with it, what good am I stopping? They'll get pissed and they'll say it doesn't work if they don't have the information behind it. There's a booklet that comes with this. There's a DVD that we did separate. The best value out there right now is what she's on. Facebook is free. You're not gonna overpay. If you don't like it, you just click off and do something else. But my idea with this is, I've had people say, you're crazy. And I've had trainers say, you're nuts. Why are you giving it away? Here's why. Because I think it's information that is what people, now I don't train dogs. I don't want people to send their dogs to me. I can't. Right now I've got a 3-year waiting list for people to get dogs from us. I don't want people sending dogs. I'm not looking to have people send dogs. I'm looking to help people that can't afford to buy a dog from me or send a dog to these guys. Because I think there's a lot of people out there like that. And the thing that I think is, there's a lot of dogs out there that are way better, way more, most, all of them, have more potential than we'll ever get out of them. So that's the reason. So I appreciate you guys sitting through this. We're going to go back down by our stuff. If you have questions, I'd be happy to talk with you. If you want to just pet the dogs, they'd be happy to do something different than this too. So thank you so much for coming and sitting through this today, and stop down if you're interested.
You want to thank your Facebook
Oh.
Live followers? They're so
They couldn't have followed the whole time.
Some did.
Thank you guys. Like that, I mean it for you guys as well. So that was long. That was terribly long. What's that?